Iran's economy was on the brink of catastrophe, but Donald Trump literally saved Iran's economy, and it seems like Iran might have one of the biggest economic booms in its history. If you compare Iran's economy to many other economies, Iran is on the brink of catastrophe. Their GDP is about $400 billion, which is a fraction of the United States, and their GDP per capita is about $5,000, which essentially makes them one of the poorest nations in the world. However, Iran has absolutely everything it needs to be one of the greatest economies in the world. They have one of the best geographies in the world because they have a population also of 100 million people. Not many other nations can actually boost with that kind of population. In comparison, France has just 60 million people. Germany has about 90 million people. So if Iran is going to utilize its full potential, Iran's economy could be in trillions of dollars. Iran also has a very long history. They have a manufacturing capacity. But because the United States has imposed sanctions on Iran since 1979 at least, and heavy sanctions since 2012, Iran couldn't actually boost its economy. Many other nations are afraid to trade with Iran, such as China, Russia, Turkey, and neighboring countries. Why? Because nobody wants to be under the sanctions of the United States. That means that you won't be able to trade with the United States and its allies. So if you ask China, which country is more important to you, to trade with Iran or to trade with the United States of America? Of course, without a question, it is going to be the United States of America, where you could be making hundreds of billions of dollars. So because the United States controls the global financial system, United States could easily isolate Iran and did not let it to utilize its potential. Iran also has 3 times more oil than the United States, but it only produces 1/3 of the US oil. Why? Because Iran is under sanctions. First of all, if you produce oil and you can't sell it to international markets, then what's the point of extracting that oil? Secondly, extracting oil in some places is extremely difficult and you need very high technology, which Iran did not have. And they couldn't let their hands on this technology because they were under the international sanctions. So if you remove these sanctions, suddenly Iran can produce more oil than the United States and dominate the entire market. And it's going to be one of the richest countries. But they cannot possibly do that. And Iran's GDP per capita is very, very tiny. Iran also had to spend billions of dollars to improve its military because Iran knew that sooner or later there is going to be a war with the United States or Israel. So we have militarily to be ready. Iran couldn't just easily buy military technology from other nations. So if you look at other nations, they simply buy the technology either from the United States, Russia, or China. But Iran did not have that capability, which is why they had to spend so much money to build their own military. And Iran was recently going through hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is probably one of the worst things that could happen to your economy. It is where prices are rising by more than 50% annually. So if a loaf of bread costs $1 this year, by the end of the year, it is going to be $1.50. Next year, it will be about $3. Then $5, then $10, then $20. And if you continue with that for a couple of years, your entire economy is going to be destroyed because the currency is going to deteriorate so much that there is no currency to trade between one another. And that means that there is no trade in the country. That means that the economy completely evaporates. That's why the Venezuelan economy, for example, is in such a dire situation because they have been going through hyperinflation. The exact same thing was happening with Iran. So if you let Iran in this situation, in 5 to 10 years from now, Iran's economy would have completely catapulted because this is not sustainable. The entire economy was on the brink of collapse. But here's Donald Trump. He starts a war with Iran, which is probably the best things that happened in Iran recently. Now, I'm not trying to justify a war. I'm not trying to say that this is a good thing or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is that to look at the war from the economic and the financial perspective. Now you have a war. The first thing that happened is that the price of oil has doubled. So if the vast majority of the government's income is coming from selling oil, your income doubled overnight. So imagine you're making $100,000 and then your boss calls you and tells you, listen, from now onwards, you will be making $200,000. Did your financial situation got better or it got worse? Secondly, Iran was selling its oil under market price to China because Iran's oil was under international sanctions. But now China is desperate. They need oil. They know that they can't get their oil from Saudi Arabia and Middle Eastern countries. So they might be even paying a premium to Iran's oil. First of all, they might be buying it in market price from now onwards. That means that Iran's income probably has tripled. And if they pay a premium, maybe it even quadrupled. So Iran right now is making more money than ever, or at least in the last 15 to 20 years, because the war has started. The United States have also removed sanctions from Iran's oil. So prior to the war, you cannot sell that oil because there are sanctions. Now the war has started, the United States realized that there is a shortage of oil in the market and they have removed the sanctions so that Iran can sell that oil to international markets. In fact, Scott Bessent said that we're actually fighting Iran with Iran's oil, that we actually removed the sanctions from Iran and now Iran is selling oil to international markets, so oil prices are going down. This is probably the best military strategy I have heard in my entire life. This is literally going to go in history books. Iran has also been collecting tolls from the Strait of Hormuz. So the Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of the global oil passes through. And it's also a strait where the Gulf countries receive everything they need to make these places livable. And now if you want to let your ship to pass, you have to pay a toll worth millions of dollars to Iran. So imagine you have a ship that actually is holding or transporting $200 million worth of oil. It doesn't actually mind to pay $1 million or $2 million in toll to be able to pass and hit the international markets. Otherwise, these hundreds of millions of dollars will be actually going to absolutely nowhere. That means that there is an extra source of revenue for Iranian government that will allow them to boost their economy and continue this war. The wartime economy is also helping Iran. When there is a peacetime, then the economy goes through recessions, different kind of financial crises. But when there is a war, now there is a need for everything. There is always demand for energy. There is demand for food. There is demand for cars. There is demand for military technology. So there is a lot of spending. And how does a GDP works? The more spending there is, the more the GDP grows. So a wartime economy usually leads to higher GDP growth. Yes, there could be a financial crisis after the war because all that demand during the war has stopped. But during the war, it is going to lead to an economic crisis. So basically, you can say that before the war, Iran's economy was in a dire situation. Since Donald Trump has started the war, Iran's economy is most likely going to boom and will continue booming as long as this war continues. Now, the United States wants a ceasefire, but Iran is not interested because Iran is actually helping its economy through this war. It is the main source of Iran's revenue right now. So, if the United States wants to end the war, Iran actually puts some terms. And these are the terms that the US has to actually agree in order to agree to a ceasefire. First of all, no sanctions after the war. So if you want a ceasefire, you have to forget about your sanctions and Iran will be able to sell its oil to anybody. Even if that thing alone happens after the war, Iran's economy will be far better after the war than before the war. Iran will be able to trade with all of its neighboring countries without any kind of restrictions, which is going to boost its economy. One of the terms that Iran put is that the United States should actually leave the Middle East. The United States is the security guarantor of all of these Gulf countries because you have Iran, you have Israel, and then you have these Gulf countries that don't have large enough populations to protect themselves. So there are dozens of the US military bases all across the Middle East. But if the United States is going to leave that place, then all of them will be under the mercy of Iran, and Iran will be the security guarantor, which means that all of these Gulf monarchies that are making so much money from selling oil will have to pay a security toll to Iran to be able to be protected from Iran or by Iran. And that means that Iran's economy is going to boom after that. The United States also have to pay compensation to Iran. So the United States has destroyed a lot of military infrastructure or the civilian infrastructure, oil facilities, and a lot of other things. Now Iran is like, you want a ceasefire? Please pay for all the compensation. You started the war, you have to pay for everything. And that number could literally be like in trillions of dollars. I can't actually imagine how much that is going to cost the United States. And that means that United States is not going to agree to these terms, which is why there is no ceasefire. It means that Iran will literally be far more stronger after the war than before the war, which is why if you started the war, you have to get the war to the end. The problem is that time is not on the side of the United States. Sooner or later, the United States will actually have to agree to Iran's terms. And why am I saying this? Now, first of all, every single day the war is going on, there is pressure on major US allies, the G7 countries, starting from the UK and ending with Japan. Like, the first month is not a problem because these countries have strategic oil reserves. But these strategic oil reserves are going to deteriorate, are going to end sooner or later. In 3 months from now, Japan is going to be in a dire situation. So here's the question. The United States, please open the Strait of Hormuz, or we will have to get our oil other ways, or we'll have to stop actually obeying the United States. Which is why, if you look at the news, you will see that there are extra thousands of the US troops that are arriving in the Middle East because the United States wants to do a ground invasion. They want to secure the Strait of Hormuz or do something that will allow the United States to secure the ships that will grow the Strait of Hormuz so that US allies can actually get their oil. Now, here's the problem with that is that any kind of ground invasion cannot be for a long time. It's a temporary solution. You can keep your troops for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. But the problem is that once you're on that soil, once you're on their soil, it's easy for them to attack you. And that means that the US casualties after that are going to compound. And that means that the pressure on the United States is going to rise. Take an example of Afghanistan. You spent 20 years in Afghanistan and the cost was so much that the United States had to abandon Afghanistan, and now the same people are running Afghanistan again. So the problem with Iran is that you're dealing with much more powerful force, which means that in 6 months from now after the invasion or 1 year after the ground troops, the United States will have to leave Iran and the Strait of Hormuz will be closed again. And in order to agree to a ceasefire, the United States will actually have to leave the entire Middle East, which means that Iran's economy after that is going to boom. So it's literally a matter of time. It is also going to boom the Iran's military-industrial complex. Why? I mean, think about this for a moment. Who actually built the most important military technology that is reshaping the 21st century? Was it built by the United States? Was it built by Lockheed Martin or maybe Boeing? No. Was it built by Russia? No. Was it built by China? No. Iran's military technology, the Shaheeds, are reshaping how wars are being fought. So the demand for the Shaheeds are going to rise dramatically. Even the United States has actually taken that technology and called it Lucas and are basically manufacturing what Iran has been manufacturing. So the United States is literally copying Iran because of how effective this technology is. So Iran could actually be selling their military technologies to the rest of the world, especially the countries that want to protect themselves against an invasion from a major country such as the United States or another major big power. So the military-industrial complex in Iran could actually boom after the war. So what do we have at the end of the day? We have an Iran that was before the war, that was in a very dire situation and probably wouldn't even lasted another 10 years. But what do we have today? A country that actually has a chance to actually secure the Strait of Hormuz in the long run and actually boom its economy because it will be leading the entire Middle East. And that's how Donald Trump saved Iranian economy.